it's Mary, Queen MLV. Talk to me Tuesday on Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. And I've been gone for a couple weeks from TTM, but I have been busy. And I'm about to be attacked by a cougar of some sort, so don't be surprised. He's got me in his sights. What I've been working on mostly is my website, which will hopefully launch in a couple of weeks, and that's exciting, but it's also, those of you who've done it, it's kind of a lot of work. And I realize and have been advised that there comes a point where you just have to do it, whether it's ready or not, and so it's not going to be completely finished, because otherwise it could take me a year to do this. I have designed several quilts since we last met. I've designed several, I'm studying modern quilts right now, so I've designed several modern quilts, and let me give you a couple of examples here. Okay, the one that I am actually making, because I can design a pattern in a few minutes, but then it takes a lot more time to write the pattern, and of course a lot more time plus money to sew it. I need some testers is what I need. And it turns out Henry is not very good at testing patterns. I've tried. So the one I am working on and sewing is this. It's, we're big Saints fans here in Louisiana. That background doesn't show up well, but I'm using this black and gold grunge for the background, and then the gray is also, my patterns, until I get better pictures, my patterns are just the mechanics of it, not the actual colors. And so my two golds, I took a block 5, one, there's another black square here, so it would be 1, 2, 3 small squares, 2 rectangles, and a big square. And take 5, not block 5, take 5 is those 5 shapes that you sew together into a block. You can put them in the same order or turn them around or whatever you want, and make in fact, I made a take 5 quilt not long ago because I have the AccuCut die for it. So I took that and exploded it, and then I designed the fleur-de-lis. So my patterns don't reflect my fabric early on, and that was fun, huh? And but anyway, I do have my two golds, which are these, and this gray that doesn't seem to fit will when it's grunge, and then the little square here that doesn't show will, because it's going to be this bright black, and then the fleur-de-lis is going to be these two colors on the gray. So I think it's going to be pretty, and it's going to be a 60-inch. Now this is 4 blocks to make a 60-inch throw. But look what happens when you make 16 blocks and you get 4 of these. So that becomes a king size quilt. So that's kind of fun too. I've been doing a lot of squares lately, and squares are great for wall hangings and throws and king size, but the other sizes are a little difficult. But that's okay, because when I still have so many panels that I'm using, and those are hard to make square, so I'm going to have enough assortment of shapes. Molly had to have a brain transplant. That set me back a little while because I was waiting for her new tablet, and that got installed basically 3 days ago. So, and it's a do-it-yourself kit when you do that brain surgery. So that was a little interesting. It was easy as heck, but a little intimidating. Anyway, I did finish the quilt that was on her, and 2 days ago, and I started my Christmas gnomes. Christmas gnomes is a queen size quilt. You may remember it. It's within reach, but it's kind of big, and so I'll show you a picture of it on Molly in a second. But Christmas gnomes was fun because I put a quilt design on it that is a Christmas gnome, but it's a completely different shape and style of gnome. So I think I like the two together. It quilted out fairly fast for a queen size. So I did did about half of that 2 days ago. Yesterday I finished the Christmas gnomes. Oh, let me put a picture of that in here before I forget. And then I started the one that I won't show you yet, but I will by next week, because it's a baby quilt I've been working on for a long time, but with COVID, it's for a friend of mine who was having her first grandchild, and he's a boy. He's now old and now expecting a little sister, so I have to make another one. Um, Hello, Henry. Don't do that. Don't swing from the chandelier, please. Okay, thank you. Um, so he's gonna put his head down here and say hi in a second. I said, don't swing from the chandelier, baby. Come here. Okay. So I'm finishing up the one for the boy and designing one for the girl. So I got the one for the boy on the quilt on Molly yesterday, and it's coming along beautifully. I just can't show it to you. And I've got one more row, and then I need to go on a binding marathon here. I have so many quilts just to finish binding, and if I would just sit down and do that, I'd have a lot more pictures to put on my website. So anyway, I was bebopping along with that, and I don't know if you remember, but Molly has her own house, which is under construction. And basically, I asked, and my brother and friend did for me, finished one room of the house instead of going along on construction. So Molly's room is the only finished room in the house, and her room and the air conditioner are the only ones in the house that have power. And so, and then construction got shut down. His helper has been unavailable since COVID hit, and we've been on other things, and nothing else has gone on except that Molly has her room. And what I didn't know until yesterday, when I was on the last row of this baby quilt, was that they had, to get me power basically overnight, they had jacked everything into an old. They've replaced the junction box, and I think there are two of them, and then there's a fuse box, and there are two of those, and they had put in all of this new wiring, but to get power to this one room and the air conditioner, air and heat, central unit, they jacked all of that into one live wire off the old system. I wasn't aware of that. They might have told me, I didn't care. That's their part of getting Molly up and running. And so yesterday I discovered that when I had the air conditioner running, of course, and I had Molly, which is the actual machine and her computer, and the overhead light, of course, and I turned the iron on and blew the whole house out. So Molly's house now has no power, and I cannot finish this quilt until my brother can. He was in court yesterday and today, until he can get over there and figure out what we're going to do about this and how much damage I did. We we she's lame. So anyway, I was kind of proud of myself because I took the quote is called "What Shall I Wear Today," and I wanted it to be very boyish, which it is, but it's basically paper dolls, and the paper doll clothes are on animal couples. So you have Mr. and Mrs. Fox in their outfits, and Mr. Raccoon, Mr. and Mrs. Squirrel, Mr. and Mrs. Whoever, all in their little dress ups. And so it's really adorable. I'm naming it after the fabric line, which is called "What Shall I Wear Today?" Well, here's what happened. I did design in PSD months ago. I designed the border. I took the leaf out of the fabric, traced it, made a border. And then my plan was to make paper doll clothes for the blocks. And so it's a panel that has blocks in it that I cut apart. Well, I didn't quite do that, and so I've been spending all my time in EQ8 and very little time in PSD, and you kind of lose some of that. So I got into PSD a couple days ago and thought, okay, what am I going to do here? Well, I had started one and I didn't like it, and so I got to Wasatch, and so they had what I wanted, but not really. So what they did have was one called Paper Dolls, and it has it's basically what I needed, except it's got the clothes with the tabs on them to put on, so it makes it look like paper dolls. It's connected with the perfect flower that matches the fabric, so it's perfect, except it's a dress and a skirt and two other things. It's 4 items of clothing that are all girls, and this is for a little boy. So they also had one called Laundry Day that had men's clothes on the line, and it's a jacket and pants and I guess a shirt and socks that are boys. And my camera's going to shake because Henry's going to swing on the chandelier again. Henry, get down, please. So you cannot swing from that, really. We got to move this. So I took those two, and I was kind of proud of myself. I only had to look one thing up. I took those two, and I took the men's clothes off the clothesline and put them into the paper dolls and added tabs to them. And I'm happy with how it turned out. Let me show you that design right here. So like I said, happy about that, pretty proud of it. Now let's talk about this cat. The cat in the room. Mr. Henry, want to say hi? Henry is huge. He is huge. His tail's twice as long as it used to be. I didn't mean to pull your tail, baby. Mr. Henry is the size of a full-grown cat. He is 5.5 months old. Now, good news, some cats will grow until they're 2 years old, and this breed only grows for 10 months. He's got a couple months to go. But living with Henry right now, let me put this in perspective. If you had a human who was 8 years old, 6 feet tall, had the metabolism of a pro football player who was a metahuman, eats 8 times what your husband can eat on Thanksgiving Day is teething, getting his permanent teeth so he wants to chew on everything and is in pain. He's just hit puberty, having a neutralizing procedure, invasive surgery on Monday, and he plays hard nonstop. Say hi. That would be what I'm living with. And he's a sweetie. He's a sweetie. And he's not 6 months old yet. So this big old bag of fur here is a baby. But he's huge. We have perfected fetching. He does point beautifully. So what we're working on right now, you know when you teach an animal to fetch and there's here's a toy, go catch it and play with it. And then there's, oh, you brought me a toy. And then one day those go together and you've perfected fetching. Well, we went through that process. And so now we're working on two things. One is shaking hands and the other is winking. And I need to talk to his doctor when I see her on Monday because I don't know if cats can physically wink, but when I wink at him, he tries to mimic me. So I wink and he goes, that's exactly what you do. And so we're working on it, but I don't know if he physically can. If he can physically wink intentionally, I've seen him close one eye, but can he actually wink? If he can, he will, because he wants to do everything I do. And the other thing we're working on is shaking hands. Well, we're at that part where we haven't put the two together. And so the part we're at right now is, in all fairness, he thinks this is a great exchange. I take his paw and shake it, and he chews on my hand, very gently, not breaking the skin, as he's been so artfully taught to do. So so that's what we do. We do kind of I shake his paw and he chews my hand, and that seems fair to him. So we're going to see if we can get rid of the chewing on the hand and just work on the shaking of the paw. So that's my Henry. And I do have a lot of video. He's going to have a Facebook page as soon as I have a minute to set that up for him. But until he does, I'm going to give you just a few seconds of him playing with my brother, because I do have some great video of that, and I don't want to make this to be 4 hours. I know those TVs hurt, huh? Okay, say goodbye, and we'll see you next week. And we're gonna try not to swing on the chandelier. Okay, bye bye.